You have questions about what school will be like in the fall, and that's great. The first thing you need to know is that your safety comes first.
And because of that, most classes will be held remotely. Any future plans to reopen campus will follow all provincial health officer directives, and so will the small number of classes that still need to be held in person. Some trades, theatre, and studio classes will still include face-to-face learning. To find out if that applies to you, check your course schedule. The course will list a building and room number.
When you start classes this fall, you'll find that every instructor will have their own method of remote learning. Some will have small group sessions where you can talk to your instructor, and others will offer presentations with voiceover. You can still expect to encounter ideas that provoke, discussions that invigorate, deadlines that will keep you on your toes, and group assignments that will test your negotiation skills. And you won't be on your own to navigate this new era of education.
You can still connect with campus services like the Wellness Center or librarian support by phone, email, or chat. And there's even a free online course to help you make the most out of alternate delivery. Some students find studying from home on a more flexible schedule actually lightens their load. This non-traditional way of doing things is a 40-year tradition at TRU, where students have been getting ahead through open learning distance classes for decades. Your instructors are drawing on that experience now to create high-quality educational experiences for you. And they've all spent a lot of time preparing through the spring and summer to teach remotely.
And the skills for success at university during a pandemic are the same skills employers in your future workplace will be looking for. You'll become better at learning new platforms, communicating at a distance, and managing your time.
If you're considering a student loan or grant, financial aid has been expanded this year to help you cover costs and keep your future on track. When you apply for Student Aid BC this summer, you'll be automatically assessed for the new non-repayable BC Access Grant, which doubles the number of grants available to students. The amount available through grants has also been doubled, and weekly loan limits increased. And you won't have to make an annual repayment this year.
Much has changed because of COVID-19. But faculty who want to connect with you, student services ready to support you, and the high-quality, internationally accredited education TRU delivers. That hasn't changed. So know that you're making the right choice in taking courses this fall.
Seize the opportunity and find your TRU.
The world needs you to create, to question, to care. At Thompson Rivers University, choose your path, and we'll help you get there every step of the way. On campus or online. Shape the world you want to see and find your TRU.
All of us, I think, remember our first experience of university and our first day.
I was both excited and afraid, I think, on my first day.
A little bit of nervousness and fear and all of those things are all natural. It's a part of it.
I'm a first-generation university student, and I found that I had to learn how to learn. Academic learning did not come natural to me.
What I learned was I didn't really know myself that well.
It's a really interesting time in people's lives when there are so many possibilities and so much that's new on that first day attending a big institution.
After that first day, after meeting a few people, we began to make plans and we began to be involved with things. Within a day, that fear just switched right off, and it was excitement.
Get involved with something that jazzes you, something that excites you, and something with people that you think you want to hang out with and you want to do things with.
This is the time for exploration. You're exploring the knowledge, you're exploring the world, you are actually also exploring yourself.
You're not going to know everything, but go in being kind to yourself and trust yourself.
It is not shameful or bad to get help if you need help.
No one can do anything on their own. We all need help, we all need advice, and finding a good mentor is just so important.
I would really encourage people that if there is something that you are struggling with, don't wait until the struggle is too big to tackle. Get help when you need it.
You know, diversity is immense here. So when you're in university, you have this perfect opportunity to be introduced to new cultures, to new ways of thinking, with people with different backgrounds and belief systems, and to listen. Listen to that.
Sometimes when you say research for a first-year student, that becomes translated into something that other people do. But I want people to know, students to know, that TRU prides itself on its support for undergraduate research.
Take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way. Step out of your comfort zone and do things you otherwise wouldn't try or think you're able to do, because you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish.
Good luck to all the new students to TRU. I'm sure you're going to have an excellent learning experience, and it is the lifelong experience is going to be what you make of it.
You've got this, and we've got you when you need some help, when things are just a little bit different from what we all expected. We're going to be okay.
Hall Forum for the winter semester of 2021. My name is Thomas Johansen, and I will be your host today as we work our way through this town hall. We got a ton of good information lined up for you here, so thank you very much for tuning in, and we are very excited that you have chosen Thompson Rivers University as your preferred institution. We know this is a difficult time for a lot of people, so do please pay attention to all the fantastic information that we have lined up for you here. We will also allow you to hear directly from students that are currently studying online with Thompson Rivers University, as well as have a great panelist of some of our most knowledgeable people with the international department at TRU. So we're very excited to have you here. You will also have the option to ask us questions, and we will be happy to answer that as we get a little bit further into the session. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my colleague, Rhianne Rickett, who will give you the latest updates for the winter semester of 2021.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today at our first town hall for the winter 2021 semester. We are looking forward to helping you with your journey to TRU. Today I have a brief presentation for you before we take your questions. I will share some updates on program delivery for the winter semester and what you can expect, as well as some next steps for you to move forward with your plans to study at TRU this January. So with travel restrictions still in place as a result of the pandemic, TRU will be delivering most courses virtually in the winter. Only a few courses that require face-to-face delivery will be offered in person on campus with safety protocols in place. Virtual classes will be a combination of scheduled virtual meetings and assignments without specific meeting times. Most courses that are delivered virtually will offer multiple sections, which will allow you to choose the timing that best fits your location. Students should choose courses with the understanding that you may be required to participate virtually during the scheduled days and times indicated, but not all scheduled meeting times will be required in all courses, and your professors will communicate their expectations for participation during the first week of classes. TRU courses moved to virtual delivery format in March with the start of the pandemic, and since then, faculty have been working with departments across TRU to continuously improve this method of delivery. Courses are now led virtually by TRU faculty, who support students to work through the course together in a cohort model with common deadlines. The professor develops and teaches each course and can make adjustments throughout the semester to keep the content and the assessments current based on events. Courses may blend interactive activities, recorded and live lectures, and group work, among other things. Our instructors are using a variety of technologies to allow a lot of the course content to be accessible to you anytime, regardless of your location or time zone. But to be able to participate in virtually delivered courses, of course, you will need to have access to broadband, internet, and a computer. Student success is a priority at TRU, so when we learned that the fall semester would be delivered online, we developed the Virtual Learning Success 101 workshop to help with the transition. The workshop introduces virtual learning and helps students to adapt to this new way of learning, and it also helps to ease any anxiety that you might have while preparing you for success at TRU. All new students are required to join the Virtual Learning Success 101 workshop, and the next workshop is being offered in November of 2020, and there's no cost to you for this workshop. So depending on the current status of your TRU application, we do have a few action items for you. So if you've received your conditional letter of acceptance for January 2021, congratulations. Please follow the steps outlined in your letter to receive your final acceptance letter. These steps might include submitting additional documents like transcripts or English scores and paying your deposit. Once you receive your final letter of acceptance, you can submit your application for a study permit online. We do recommend that you do not delay on submitting your application. Processing times are still being impacted by COVID-19 and can take longer than you expect. So if you're not able to submit all of your documents or your biometrics right now because of COVID-related closures or delays, you can still submit your application and get in the queue for processing. You can check on IRCC's website for the most up-to-date information on application requirements and processing times. If you requested a deferral from the fall semester and you're still waiting for it to be processed, you can expect it to be processed very soon. Our admissions team has received a large number of deferral requests due to study permit processing delays from the fall, and they're working hard to process them quickly, so thank you for your patience. In the meantime, please continue to prepare for your study permit application. And as soon as you receive your study permit, please let us know. Once we hear from you, we can start working on getting you registered. Courses do fill up, so the sooner you communicate with us, the more options you'll have. And TRU's academic advising teams will assist you with planning your courses, and our international admissions team will assist with your registration. And wherever possible, courses will be scheduled to suit your location and time zone. I hope we'll be able to answer most of your questions today, but I'm sure you'll have more as you prepare to join us for the winter semester, so please don't hesitate to talk to us. You can drop in or schedule a meeting in one of our virtual meeting rooms. We will have representatives ready to talk to you from our academic advising and recruitment teams, as well as our international student advisors and registered international student immigration advisors. So just visit tru.ca/meet to talk to us. We will continue to provide updates for new international students for winter with additional town halls like this one and through email communication and town halls with your specific faculties. So please watch your inbox for details on those. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks, everyone, and please take care.
Guys watching, if you want to rewatch that will obviously be available on our YouTube channel once we are done. Now we move along to a couple of testimonials from current students who are studying virtually at Thompson Rivers University. First here we have Adriana from El Salvador. Really like her attitude towards how we could still access your professors and friends virtually, while also really looking into how do you make the best study space for yourself, how do you manage your time and give yourself the benefit of studying virtually and give yourself the chance to really succeed at this new experience, which is obviously something we're all going to have to live with going forward. We've also spoken to Deepak from India, one of our computer science diploma students. Again, he mentions this is the new normal. And this is something we really need to have a positive mindset around to adapt to and move on. This also does give you some opportunities, part-time work, and also you can still be joining clubs. You can meet with your faculty and advisors and access all of the regular support services that a on-campus student has been able to do before the pandemic hit. So I think the message from both of our testimonials here is to really go into it with an open mind, really take advantage of all of the opportunities that it does offer for you, and take this chance to dive in and really take your time and learn as much as you can from this experience. Now I would like to take the chance to introduce our two panelists. We are happy to have Siping Feng, the Director of International Marketing today. We also have Ruben Onyango. He is the Manager of Student Accommodations, Events, and Engagement. Both of these gentlemen are very knowledgeable, and I would like to introduce Siping to introduce himself first and give some opening remarks. Siping?
Good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Ziping Feng. It's so great to meet you. And some of you, we may have met you earlier in the summer, but now you're registered for winter semester. It's so good to have everyone here, and we're looking forward to have some very engaging discussions with you today. Welcome.
Ruben, can I get you to say a couple words?
Sure, Thomas. Just want to, students are, it's challenging times for a lot of students still, and we're just grateful that you're choosing to go forward with your plans to begin your studies. We've had one big intake already now, so we are happy to say that we tried a lot of new things in the summer, and the feedback we've got so far has been fairly good. So, we will continue to perfect this as we get ready to welcome you in the fall. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your questions, and long term to welcoming you to Canada when it's safe to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruben. And we have now opened up the questions section. So please submit your questions and we will answer them as they come in. First off here, which programs are available for winter and May semesters? So I would encourage everybody to refer to our view book, which can be found on our website. There's a nice section that will lay out which programs you can start in winter, May, and September as well. All programs do have a September start. Most of them would have winter as well, and a few would have the May intake. So do take a look at our view book for that information. Next question here is, when should we start registering for courses for the winter semester? So this is something we hear a lot of. Siping, when is the appropriate time for a student to start registering?
That is a very good question, and thank you for planning ahead. So, like Rianne mentioned in her presentation, it's very important for you to get registered early. So when you register early, there are more sections available for your courses, and you have way more options than you registered late. So we will encourage that. And for this winter, we're going to process it in the sequence of you get your admissions, you pay your tuition fees, and you apply for your study permit. So once you receive your study permit approval, or the IRCC now, they're processing two-sigil approval, we call it AIP. So once you get your study permit or AIP, then let us know right away. Our academic advising team will help you to plan. Our admission team will help you to register. So get your study permit approval first. Once you get that, you can request to get registered for winter 2021.
Okay, so that for the students who already have their final letter of acceptance, this is really the next step for them to take, is to get moving on that study permit process. We have a question here regarding our post-bac. Yes.
We got a little bit delay here. I
got
said
a little delay there.
It is for students to get their study permit application ready. And some students say, oh, the visa center is not open in my city or in my country. That's okay, because you can submit your study permit application online. And they encourage every student to submit their study permit application online.
For sure. Next question here is are post-bac diplomas in business available for the May intake? And at this moment, no, that would only be September and January. So if you do look to do a post-bac, please either get your application in for the winter semester here, which we can take until November 1st, or be looking forward to the September 2021 intake. Next question here, is deferral to the fall semester a possibility? And I imagine yes, if your program have an intake there. But what's your input there, Seping?
I think it depends on each student's situation. I do realize timing is very important. And you know what we learned after the courses were delivered virtually? The online learning skills and the online communication skills. Get familiar with the virtual learning and teaching technologies. It's become an essential skills for future students and professionals. I think this fall, if I can give you a little bit update, there are, with our encouragement, with our students' bravery, I think we had more than 500 students, new students registered for fall 2020 semester. They already started their journey online. And I think this is a very great individuals, because they wanted to take the challenge that giving at them. Pandemic is not ideal for anyone, but they chose what is best available for them at this time. So what I would like to suggest is for you to consider, if you think there is absolutely not possible for me to study in the winter courses, then you have the option to defer. But if you're just have a little bit uncertainty or a little bit concern about it, I suggest not to worry about it, because you gotta try it to gain the knowledge, gain the experience, and you can do better. It's really a process for you to really enhance your skills. I know many of you, when you graduated, you will be working in a multi-international businesses to do international operations. Very easily, you will connect with someone from a different time zone and location. So those kind of skills, knowing how to communicate it virtually, how to present yourself best virtually, it's an essential skills for you to learn. So why not take this opportunity, get onto the study plan and learn it. So I do suggest students not to worry about the winter virtual delivery. And you know what? We hear so many in the news, so much in the news, that the vaccine is being developed, and it's hopefully it will be available sometime early next year. So you might only need to experience 1 semester's of virtual learning, and then September you will be here on campus with us. And by the way, my colleagues have been showing some winter scene in the PowerPoint slides. And I tell you, because we're preparing for the winter, but winter is not here yet. And today is beautiful and sunny. And we will get to up to 23 degrees during the daytime, during the high temperature. So you will join us. You will be able to join us soon enough, then in this beautiful campus and environment. But get yourself started, and not to delay the best time of your life. That's what the suggestions I have for you. Reconsider it. Unless you have to defer, take this challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabing. That was great. And for those who are coming and joining us here in the winter, the next question is, when do classes start for the winter semester of 2021? On our website, truworld.ca, under Future Students tab, there is a great page called International Students Important Dates. So right now we're looking at first day of classes, January 4th. But Ruben, we do have some stuff going on leading up to that class start, right? We have some international student orientation. Are you able to share a little bit about that?
Yes, Thomas, I'm able to share some dates here. So right now we're planning on sharing a Moodle course. We started a Moodle course this summer for the fall intake, and that is where we've been sharing a lot of information that would typically go out to prepare students for orientation. So we're going to release that coming up here soon, probably within the next 2 weeks. And then students will have a couple months to work through the modules. And then in December, if everything goes according to plan, we are hoping that we can host the orientation sessions sometime before the Christmas break. But at this point, that's the plan. We will, of course, share the detailed information with you in an email, and then the updates that will be coming from my colleagues on the marketing side. But yeah, you should watch out for that information coming soon.
Thank you, Ruben. I think the next couple of questions here would be for you as well, Ruben. They're kind of similar. Is TRU providing a travel letter to show at immigration? That would be the first question. Similar question would be, will TRU provide a travel support letter if travel restrictions are removed by January 2021, since you've already converted the semester to delivery online? And again, I guess the next question would also be similar. What if what happens if we need to take face-to-face courses for the winter, but travel restrictions aren't lifted? So a lot of questions around what happens there.
Yes. So the best way for me to answer this question is to first start off by saying that there are travel restrictions at present. And that means that the only students who are able to travel to Canada at this time are those who got study permit approval or study permit before March 18th. So any students who have received study permit approval after March 18th are not able to travel to Canada until the travel restrictions are lifted. We have developed a series of letters of support that we issued to students who are able and authorized to come to Canada at this time. So, for right now, we're saying that if you have your study permit approval prior to March 18th, please connect with us, and we will we'll issue the appropriate letter. For all other students, it's a waiting game right now. Until the travel restrictions are lifted, we can't do anything, but we are ready and prepared to issue those letters as soon as the travel restrictions are lifted. So for right now, we're just asking that you submit your study permit applications and get everything in order so that when the time comes and those restrictions are lifted, you're able to travel and get here quickly. I mean, the main goal for us, and I think for everybody, is to have you join us on campus, but we have to do so, one, when it's safe, and when we are authorized to do so.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah.
I guess I got another question here that kind of dovetails with that is when can we expect for on-campus classes? I don't know if any of you brave enough to venture a guess here, but I imagine September 2021 is what we're looking at here.
I'll take a stab at that, and then Ziping, you can add in. From everything I've seen from the immigration side, students are being, for example, told that any studies they begin up until April 2021 will count towards their, they're allowed to start online, and it will count towards their post-graduation work permit. So I think right now IRCC is working on the optimistic assumption that things will settle down by May. But I think that's what TRU has done as well, is right now we've said that the winter semester courses will be delivered online or in a virtual format, but there have been no plans beyond that. So fingers crossed that everything works out. But right now we're working with May as the earliest possible date.
And if I can add, I don't know if students are watching the news. We are patiently waiting for the vaccines, effective vaccines will be approved and we can use. So the Canadian government, if you heard the news, has ordered millions, if not billions of doses of the vaccines once it's available. So if that's available, if that's being released when you're here, there will be a chance for you to be vaccinated, so it's in the city safely. Be patient with us, and I'm very hopeful. I hope things will be back to normal, and that's all. Do our parts. That's all. Keep ourselves protected and stay safe. And when that day is coming, you will be ready. So look forward to next year.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a question here about from a student. I haven't received the conditional letter of acceptance yet. Can I pay my fees before receiving a letter of acceptance? And that would be a no. So if you have been waiting for a while for that letter of acceptance and you're an undergraduate student or postbac, please do reach out to iapply@tru.ca. If you're talking about a master level program, that would be igrad@tru.ca. But your conditional letter would have those instructions on how to do your payment. Next question here is around the English. Is Duolingo English proficiency test sufficient to TRU undergrad computer science program? Ziping?
Duolingo is a great test that I would recommend to anyone if you don't have a English proficiency score submitted in your application, and once you're admitted, if you wanted to register, take a Duolingo test. But I do want to remind if you're an MBA student, if you're a master's student, you might want to double check with grad admission office before you take that Duolingo test, because the master program is the only one that is not being fully accepted by TRU yet. But for other programs, for bachelor's, for postbac diplomas, take Duolingo, because you are not only needed that for your admission process, but you will also need that for your registration process. So take that. It only you can sign up at any time. You can take it at any time. The results coming out really quickly. So that will get you ready to move to the next step. So please, when you get an opportunity, do it right away. Thank you.
Great. Another question here surrounding accommodation. So I think there's two parts to this. When we arrive, will we get a temporary stay till we find a place to stay outside of campus? So I guess we're going to address this both under kind of normal circumstances, and then also if they do have to come here to attend a program, what happens potentially with quarantine facilities. Ruben?
Great. So that's a great question. We've had to go through a quite rigorous process to get a quarantine plan approved, and we needed that in order to be able to accept students who are coming into Canada. For the fall semester, what we did is we issued letters to students on the condition that they were going to quarantine in residence and they were going to commit to live in residence for the fall semester. And that is the same process that we're looking at implementing for the winter semester. The system has worked fairly well. We have one entire building set aside at one of the residences where students come into quarantine. A quarantine plan is available on the TRU website, so you might want to look at that, tru.ca/quarantine. But essentially what happens is you connect with an international student advisor once you determine that you are eligible to come to Canada, and then your international student advisor will work with you just to make sure that your quarantine plan is good and to help you with planning for your travel and your arrival in Canada and Kamloops. We're asking that you book your flights all the way to Kamloops. We will meet you at the airport upon arrival. We will make sure that you get into the airport shuttle, and that will transport you to McGill residence, where you will stay in quarantine for 14 days. We provide you with food for the 14 days, and then you have daily check-ins with an international student advisor. And at the end of your quarantine, you have a medical screening to clear you before you can leave your room. And then at that point, you will either stay on at McGill residence, if that is where you booked your accommodations, or you will move to East Village or North Tower. So yeah, that is the process in a nutshell. But yes, I guess the easy way to answer that question is yes, we have your accommodations looked after. We just need you to connect with us once you have all your documents in order. Thank you.
Thomas, unmute yourself.
Apologies, everybody. Let me just repeat that question. For Ruben, again, I assume, will TRU provide any waiver in case the study permit would be in process but not yet approved or granted? So this is a student coming for January. They don't have that study permit in place by the time classes start. Is there a waiver option for them?
Yes.
I can answer that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Siping.
So we still recommend every student to move forward with your study permit application. We will have the waiver option because sometimes study permit takes a bit longer to process, and if students still don't have the study permit, say sometime in December, we will open a online acknowledgement form for you to sign. Once you sign that form, we will be able to register you without a study permit. But there will be a little bit of risk that will be outlined in that form. So the short answer is there will be a waiver form that will be available in sometime in December. Before that, we still encourage you to get your study permit applied as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Again, a question around common on campus. Any measures TRU can help us to enter Canada? Ruben, do you want to reiterate here what you mentioned earlier?
Sure, Thomas. So the only help we can provide to students is providing letters of support and making sure that you have, suitable quarantine arrangements. But we can only do that for students who received study permit or study permit approval on or before March 18th of this year. For all other students, we're not really able to do anything because there are travel restrictions in place. And at this point in time, those have been extended until the end of October. So looks like right now it's a month-to-month process, but as soon as the travel restrictions are lifted, we're able to provide those letters. absolutely.
Fantastic. And when they do have their study permit, what is the process for them to get registered for classes? Who should they email to get registered for classes for the winter semester? Sabine?
Good question. We can answer that. For most of the students, you at this moment you don't have to do much, but you wanted to make sure that TRU has your study permit approval. So that is an AIP or study permit. In next week, we will send you an email with a link to a form. We want you to upload your study permit, your study permit approval in principle. So once you submit that, the registration, the academic planning process will start. Most of you don't need to email anyone to get registered, but as long as in our system you are being identified qualified to register, then our academic advising team will start the process. For most of the courses, you'll be automatically registered, but for some of the courses, the advising team will reach out to you, give you step-by-step instructions for you to get registered. So the priority for you is to submit your study permit, submit your AIP, and then let the planning and registration course process start.
Perfect, thank you. Next question here is, can I take deferral to the September 2021 intake as to the winter 2021 intake will be delivered online or virtually? And yes, you can, but as Seping mentioned earlier, get going on this challenge. As we saw with those student testimonials, it does offer some unique opportunities as well. So we would strongly encourage that you get going on the winter semester if that's a possibility. Next one here would be, can we work and study simultaneously in our home country till the time virtuals in our home country until the time while we study virtually? So can you work while you study virtually? Do remember you are still doing classes here, so it does take some time, but if you're legally allowed to do that, yes, there shouldn't be a problem. Next question here is, if I come to Canada for winter 2021, when can I apply for residency? So residence. Also, how would the quarantine process work? So I guess this would be for you again, Ruben, about when do they apply for a residence spot, and how does the quarantine process work?
So the residence application works two ways. One is you can send your money to TRU, and then we'll take care of the initial process for you, but you'll still need to set up an account and do all that on the housing portal. And then the second way to do it is to apply directly to the residence. Because of the travel restrictions in place right now, students who are applying through TRU, we're accepting the fees, but we're not really we're not going ahead with the application process until the travel restrictions are lifted, because we know that it's not possible for students to travel at this time. However, we are contacting students to let them know that that's what we're doing, and if they still require a letter of accommodations to go with their application, we are providing that. If you submit an application directly to the residence has been very good about communicating with students. So as long as they know what your plans are and what's going on with your study permit application, if a deferral is necessary, then they will process it at the time. But yeah, you don't have to worry that you're going to lose any funds that you pay for accommodations. We're all being very flexible because we realize that at this time, things are changing all the time. So you can submit your application if you want to, but you can also wait until you have a decision on your study permit. There are lots of rooms available at this point in time. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. Next question here would be around the visa process again. IRCC said no two-way process for the January semester student. What can we do about this? So two-way, I imagine we're talking the approval in principle process and the study permit process. Is that the case, Ruben? And is there anything to do about it?
As far as I know, and this is from a recent update we got from IRCC, the two-stage process is still how they're doing things. So yeah, on our side, unless students have heard otherwise, it's still the two-way process where you get an AIP and then they continue with the rest of the application process and give you final approval after you've passed your medical, security clearance, and biometrics.
Terrific. And Seping, when is the deadline for visa confirmation for the January 2021 intake?
Understanding the challenges the students are facing, at this moment, we recommend students to confirm their study permit with us before no later than December 1st. Understanding the student challenges that they're facing, maybe there are delays on study permit processing again. We are likely will extend that date, but right now that's target on December 1st. But I think if you get your study permit in December, very likely we could accommodate your course registration for winter 2021. Thank you.
Terrific. So as we know, most classes have gone virtual here, except for a handful. How does it work with the ESL classes? Will they be available online as well? Seping?
ESL classes will be delivered virtually online. You can participate in ESL classes in your home country.
Mm-hmm. And the next one here would be around the purchase of books and study material in e-format. And as far as I know, the bookstore has moved fully online as well. Is that your impression, Ruben?
Yeah, so the bookstore is offering an option for students to buy the ebooks as well as the hard copy textbooks. I know if you purchase a hard copy textbook, they will ship it to you, but I'm hearing that the cost of shipping can be prohibitive. But there is the online, the ebook version of most textbooks available as well. So yeah, that information is available in the TRU bookstore. Once you're registered in your classes and you've attended your first Moodle course, typically your instructor will go through the course outline and they will, let you know whether the books are required or optional.
Perfect. So Ping, again, a question here around the visa and the timing of the visa. This is a student who is willing to start their online courses in January of 2021. But if my visa get denied, can I still get a refund of my tuition? And is there a penalty for having that tuition refunded?
At the beginning of the semester, if you register into the courses, typically no later than the first 2 weeks of study, if you receive the visa refusal, we will be able to deregister you, and we will be able to refund for the tuitions you've paid. So for a student, first of all, to be registered, in that case, you probably have already signed a waiver. And if you received your study permit refusal within the first 2 weeks of the semester, the beginning of the semester, we can deregister you and refund you. But if you studied further, say you received a study permit refusal in February, and you already signed a waiver and registered in the courses, then there won't be eligible refund for your tuition for that semester. Thomas, we can't hear you.
Next question here is, any plans to shift or delay the January 2021 intake to May 2021 for all programs? And unless you guys know something, the answer is no. There is no plans to shift the start date for January to May. Ruben, around the residency again, residences, will my residence application be deferred if I can't arrive in Canada? So I guess in some cases, student will be coming here to join us, and if in case they can't, will that be bumped till a future date?
So the good news is that we haven't had any issues so far with students who are eligible to come to Kamloops or to TRU. Our support letters and our quarantine plan and letters are pretty good and have been accepted at the various points of entry. If for whatever reason you've booked your accommodations and you're not able to make it, I think just let us know right away. I'd say contact your international student advisor and we will make the necessary arrangements. We'll get in touch with the residents on your behalf and get everything sorted out. So yes, a deferral in this case will be definitely approved.
And another question here is around how many semester students can study online. So what is the IRCC rules at this moment for online studies?
So at this point in time, if you're in a program over 1 year, up to 50% of your program can be completed online from outside of Canada until April 30th of 2021. So that's the requirement right now, and then the other 50% has to be completed in Canada.
Great. And for the students who are looking to defer SIPing, how many deferrals are they allowed? How far can you push it before we're talking about a new application?
Students are normally allowed one deferral within 1 academic year. So for students, you can send your deferral request to admission team, and in case you have maxed out your deferral options, then they won't process your deferral, but you can reapply to the same program, started a new application. You can do it that way. With that, you have to pay another $100 application fee.
Perfect. Next question is also surrounding deferrals here, and is it possible to move my courses to the May intake if we already chose the January intake? And yes, with the caveat that there needs to be an intake for the program that you're hoping to begin, and with the encouragement that get going in January, take on that challenge. Is accommodation provided for students coming in for the master program? Ruben, there's no difference here than any other student, correct?
Yes, accommodations are provided for all students. We don't have separate accommodations for master's level students. So all the residences accommodate students at various levels of their academic journey.
Mm-hmm. And another question here surrounding the work permit and as courses being delivered online. Will the application for work permit upon graduation become affected by courses being delivered online or delivered virtually, Ruben?
No. So at this point in time, again, students are allowed to begin their program of study virtually. And I mean, that's the only option right now. And IRCC is saying that, for students studying up until the winter semester, up to 50% of the program can be completed online from outside of Canada. Again, that is until April 30th. So in this case, a student who is joining us in the winter semester can definitely start their program online, and that will not impact their post-grad work permit eligibility.
Right. Great. A question again here around accommodation. How do we get more information about accommodation? And I would recommend that you jump onto the truworld.ca website under the new student tab. There is a option called accommodation, which is a great resource for you to both look at all the different accommodation options that we offer here on campus. We have a question here. If you have a course waiver options, do you have to take all courses, or can you choose to take some instead? I'm not entirely sure if that's talking about transfer credit in this case, or we're talking maybe about the MBA course waivers. Siping, you want to take a stab at this?
I would assume this students are talking about if they were already given credits for some of the courses and it's so-called waiver, then the answer is you don't have to take those courses. If you are being exempt for some of the courses, those credits will be transferred from your previous study, so you don't need to take those courses anymore. Instead of, you can choose the other courses that required to complete your program. For that, I wouldn't be worried about too much. You will be having the opportunity to discuss with your academic or program academic advisor to discuss your exact study plan.
Perfect. For you, Ruben, here, what can we do in order to get a study permit upon receiving the conditional letter of acceptance? And to whom do we submit the study permit once it has been, once they've received it?
So the process to apply for a study permit, many of you are working with agents, or you are in touch with one of our marketing service representatives, and they would, in most cases, be knowledgeable about the process. The good thing about applying for temporary residence documents to Canada is that the process is very well explained even on the website. So if you go to the website canada.ca, or you can just go on Google and type in study permit application. The website has very detailed information about how the process works. So then you would work closely with your agent or one of our marketing service representatives, and they'll guide you through the process. Otherwise, if that help is not available wherever you are, reach out to us, and one of our immigration advisors will be happy to help you.
And Ruben, how do they reach out to you guys again if they want to talk to an immigration consultant or immigration advisor?
So you can send an email. So a few ways to connect with us. You can either contact your ISA, International Student Advisor, and they will direct those emails to us. Another option is to email the immigration advising email, which is RISIA, RISIA @TRU.ca. And if you wanted to speak with us in person on video, just like we're interacting right now, you should navigate to tru.ca/meet, and you'll see an option there for RISIA on the go. So RISIA stands for Regulated International Student Immigration Advisor.
Terrific. Again, a couple of questions around deferrals here. First, who should we contact for deferrals? So here I would say, if you're an undergraduate or post-baccalaureate, get in touch with iapply@tru.ca. If you are a master's student, it will be igrad@tru.ca. But Siping, when is the last date that they can apply for a deferral for the 2021 intake?
I would say early January, that would be fine. I know many of the students are waiting for their study permit to be processed, and some may receive their study permit sometime in early January. So I would say there is the absolute date, I think it's January the 17th or the 18th. But I would say in general, if you send your deferral request before mid of January, you are safe.
Perfect.
Before mid of January, yeah.
Perfect. We have a question here about sports on campus. What are the sports options at TRU? And here I would recommend that you look at the Wolfpack's website. I see you have an orange shirt on there, Ruben. Is that a Wolfpack shirt you got on, or? Oh, sorry.
I actually got this t-shirt from the TRU Recreation Department, so it's pretty cool. I like the orange. So TRU Recreation runs a lot of intramural sports. So this is not the competitive type of sports, but it gets you out, it gets you connecting with other students. And typically the cost to join these it's either free or it's a very minimal cost. And any sport you can think of. They have floor hockey, basketball, volleyball. So lots of opportunity to try any of these sports. And then as far as the Wolfpack go, if you're if you're on a different level when it comes to sports, we have basketball, soccer or football. If you're coming from a country, that's what it's called. Swimming and volleyball. Those are the varsity sports. And then for club sports, we have baseball and cheerleading. So there you go.
And I think for those listening in from South Asia, we do also have a cricket league, I believe, with 10 or 12 teams that you can take part in. I hear you guys are a little crazy about cricket out there. Next question here would be, we actually have a student here who have received their study permit before March 18. Is now the right time to contact my ISA for travel supporting letter for winter? Ruben, I believe that would be for you.
Yes, why not? We might as well get the process starting early. So yes, by all means, please connect with your international student advisor. Even if we're not getting things, any letters issued right now, I think it's good for you to know the process, and it's good for us to start to make the necessary arrangements so that it's a stress-free and just a smooth transition for you all the way getting here. So yes, do it as soon as possible.
Perfect. Siping, in the case that the border opens in the middle of the semester, are students supposed to come and attend classes on campus, or will they just continue virtually until the end of the semester?
Whoever asked that question, I like your positive thinking, and we are all hoping that the border restriction will be lifted. What I can confirm is the winter semester course will be delivered virtually, and there won't be any changes of delivery format in the middle of the semester. So the good news is the travel restriction being lifted in the middle of the semester. Of course, students can be prepared to travel to Canada, but it's not required, because even you travel to Canada, you arrived at on campus, the course will still be delivered virtually for that semester, because it will be very not feasible for the institution in the middle to switch to delivery model. So because the faculty has to plan ahead, everything has to be designed for certain ways to best suit for the delivery. But if you can travel to campus, and our student service advising team will help you to coordinate those travel. You probably have to be quarantined a little bit, but we will coordinate that. You're welcome to get to here if the travel restrictions lifted. The courses will still be virtual for winter semester.
Okay, so we are getting a little short on time here, so I'm just gonna quickly run through the questions here. How do I know if my program will require face-to-face classes or not? So if I remember correctly, we're talking about nursing program here, we're talking about horticulture, we're talking about trades program, we're talking about studio heavy classes like the fine arts and the visual arts. Am I missing anything here? Siping?
The massive data science, their face-to-face portion will start in mid of March. So we will try to assist those students to travel for that.
Perfect. Here's a little bit of a hypothetical question here for you, Ruben. What if we are not allowed in Canada for the last 50% of the program duration? Can we still study virtually from our home country? So here I'm guessing, so the first 50 is allowed. What happens with the last 50? Any guess here?
So at this point in time, IRCC has not indicated that they will make any changes to that. Like I said before, we're all working on the optimistic assumption that things will normalize as we get into the summer of 2021. So all the regulations in place right now allowing students to study outside and have it count towards a postgrad work permit are until April of 2021. So I imagine that if travel restrictions need to be extended longer than that, then IRCC will make the necessary adjustments. But for right now, we're going with You're allowed to study online, and it will count towards your postgrad work permit, but only until April 2021.
Perfect. And a question here around the approval in principle. Do I need to mail IRCC information that I will need AIP, as I am unable to submit biometrics from my home country? So I guess here, does the student need to come forward with to the IRCC saying I need an AIP rather than a study permit, or is that an automatic process if they don't?
No, so that is an automatic process. So I think IRCC has, they've made some really good changes during the summer. So they recognize that not all students are able to provide all documents or go through the entire process. So if you happen to be in that situation, then you will automatically go through the AIP process. Students who are able to provide everything and where, the biometric centers and visa application centers are open, those students go through the regular process. So no, you don't have to notify IRCC that you want the AIP.
Great. And for students who are coming from the US, what are the restrictions currently between the US and Canada?
At this point in time, students who are coming from the US, and I don't mean students who are transiting through the US. If you live in the US right now and you're coming to Canada, you're exempt from the travel restrictions. But IRCC has made it very clear that they don't want you to travel if it is not essential to do so.
Very well. Ping, can a student change the course after paying their fees before or after commencement of classes? So if a student does want to change the program, is that possible?
It is possible if we have seats available for that program or for that class. Yes, once you get to Canada, you have lots of freedom to decide what you want to study and what classes you wanted to take. So it's possible when there are seats available.
Great. Ruben, are the campus quarantine provided for only those students who have booked campus accommodation?
Quarantine is for everybody. So if you're a new student and you're coming to TRU, you don't have an option. It's mandatory that you quarantine in residence, and it's mandatory that you live in residence for at least the first semester.
Great. A couple of questions here around the opportunity to find part-time work. First, what kind of part-time options are available near TRU campus? And how are the circumstances with work on campus, such as part-time or full-time, if I arrive in Kamloops? Will I be able to work even if the virus is still present? Seping?
The pandemic did not change any of this international student working policy. In fact, that students work in the frontline positions, for example, grocery stores or healthcare facilities. Their limit for their 20 hours work is lifted. So we see lots of our students continue to work during this pandemic, and actually they are such a courageous group that they are working, serving the community, helping us during this pandemic. So the international students are the essential frontline working groups during this pandemic, and the community has shown lots of appreciation for that. So if we all go to those places during the pandemic, and I see students everywhere, and they are such a courageous group, and we thank for their work. To answer your question, students are still allowed to work based on the current work policy that outlined by the immigration office. So when you're here, you will have the same opportunity to continue to work while you're studying.
Perfect. Thank you. This is a popular question. We're getting it a lot here, so let's just reiterate. Will studying virtually affect their post-graduation work permit and potentially permanent residency down the road? Ruben?
No, I mean, in most cases, students will still be eligible for a postgrad work permit if they can't travel to Canada at this time. The directive right now for students in a program that is over 1 year is that up to 50% of that program can be completed online from outside of Canada until April 30th, 2021. So for those of you studying your courses in the winter, it's safe to assume that you can complete your winter semester without any impact to your post-graduation work permit eligibility. And if there are any changes to the travel restrictions, then I would expect that IRCC would extend that April date as well. So we'll keep you posted for sure.
Thank you. Another question surrounding deferrals here. Is a second deferral possible? And yes, would be the answer there. But do get going on that program. Take on that challenge. If we study the whole degree online, will TRU award us with a degree? So TRU does have an open learning division that does entirely online programs. Seping, do you have anything here for students who worry about this?
So the answer is yes. If you successfully completed a whole degree online, you will get granted with a TRU degree. However, what you will be missing is the post-graduation work opportunities in Canada. So to best facilitate your study planning, I would suggest you to come to talk to one of our certified immigration advisors. Go to tru.ca/meet, MEET. You can chat with one of the advisors and work out a study plan.
Perfect. Here we have a student who was supposed to start fall 2021, but has deferred to winter 2021. I am not going to wait any longer. We'll start classes virtually. What do I do next? What is kind of the next concrete step for a student who's going for January 2021? Seping?
I assumed we already have your study. Please send an email to iisa@tru.ca, or if you will get it in the coming weeks, by early next week, we'll send you a form to upload those study permits. So once we have your study permit, we will start your planning process. And for this student, you first need to do is to contact admissions to change your intake to winter 2021 if you haven't done so, and then the planning process will start.
Great. And Ruben here again, will the post-graduation work permit be affected with 50% of courses taken from their home country?
At this point in time, no. Their post-graduation work permit eligibility will not be impacted. Again, up to 50% of programs over 1 year can be completed online from outside of Canada, and that directive is in effect until the end of April 2021.
Perfect. And again here, around accommodation, do we have to pay for accommodation regardless of classes being held online? And the answer here is no. If you're studying from your home country, you do not have to pay for accommodation. That would only be for somebody who is coming to Kamloops to attend classes.
Yes.
Next question here: are master students allowed to work part-time during their course? Ruben?
Absolutely, as long as you have the necessary authorization. So you need to have the comments or remarks on your study permit allowing you to work, and then you need to get a social insurance number, and you need to be enrolled in full-time classes, and absolutely you're allowed to work a maximum of 20 hours a week during your studies.
Perfect. Last question here, again around the quarantine. We're getting a lot of questions around the quarantine facilities. Is quarantine mandatory at TRU residences? If yes, then after 14 days, can I find off-campus accommodation? I guess this would again be for you, Ruben.
Yes, at this time, as per our quarantine plan that was approved by the Ministry of Education, students must quarantine in residence, and they must also commit to living in residence for the 1 semester. So in this case, a student who's coming in the winter semester will quarantine and live in residence until the end of April.
Terrific. Thank you, Ruben. So that was the end of the Q&A session. I would like to invite our panelists. I would like to thank our panelists, and then I would like to invite them to give us some final thoughts here on the the January 2021 intake. Seping, would you go first?
Yeah. Again, I just wanted to thank you for this group's for your participation today. I know this pandemic has posed so many challenges to all of us, but I also believe this is your opportunity to learn how to handle the uncertainties and handle the stresses along your way of studying abroad. And this group, you always inspire us because you're so courageous, and I want to remind you that spirit can start now. And moving forward, this is not the only town hall we're going to do. It's the beginning of the town hall we're going to do. We're going to walk this together. We made ourselves available by email, by joining virtual meetings. Please do not hesitate to do so. And in return, we wanted to request you, because you're now no longer just a student, you are a university student, you are a TRU student. We wanted you to learn how to be professional, learn how to manage your time, learn how to communicate efficiently. So when you do all of those, you are actually stepping into a very successful journey ahead of you. So please keep communicating with us. Follow up the actions we called up, ask you to do, and also ask for help when you need it, because that's what we're going to do here, and that's what we're going to support you with. So I'm looking forward a very successful start semester of winter 2021 semester. But thank you in advance for all your support and participation in our activity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Seping. And Ruben?
When COVID first reared its ugly face upon us, we were always hearing about all the challenges that it was posing. But, over time, I think we've really worked hard to innovate and to try new things. So, I don't necessarily look at it as a bad thing anymore. The only negative now is that, you're not able to be with us. But, as far as the education and the quality that you're getting, that is not going to be impacted. And, IRCC is being very flexible in allowing students to start their studies abroad online and still count towards a post-graduation work permit. So, we are very grateful that you are still planning to carry on with your studies. And, I highly encourage you to not put it off. Education should not wait. We're going to deliver the same experience, as close to anyways as you would if you were here. So, thanks for joining us. I'm glad to be a part of this, and I look forward to walking this journey with you until you're able to make it to Kamloops. So take care, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. So that concludes this first town hall here. Thank you very much for tuning in, and please do keep an eye on your email. We will be communicating with you going forward and hosting more of these opportunities for you to ask questions of us. So thank you again, and look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Mindset that this is going to be a successful journey.
Never feel that pressure on the first day that you have to know what you want to do right then and there, because you'll change your mind all the time.
Go to class. That's always a good thing.
TRU actually offers a platform for everybody to showcase whatever they know.
Be yourself.
University is a place where you can become yourself, break out of your shell.
Actually, my biggest advice is to talk to your teachers.
Don't be afraid of us faculty. Come and see us.
Oh, don't be afraid to talk to people. Just talk to anyone, because there's everyone in the same position as you are.
Try to get everything you can from that student experience you have, because it's just 4 years of your life.
It is not just going to be learning in class, it's going to be learning about who you are.
Use this place and get everything